Hello, it's Charles Folkart, February 16th, 2018. I welcome all of you. Thank you for subscribing and watching and sharing these videos. It's important to share these videos. We get the maximum use out of the videos if you put my my mug and my stuttering and all the rest of that, and the content, of course, in front of other people that you think might be interested. That way we get the maximum leverage out of the efforts here. I really appreciate when you share these videos, and also for supporting this channel. Your support has allowed me to buy 3 years of Screencast. That's the software program that I use to create these videos. It's a pretty good for the cost. It's only 15 bucks. Oh, they went up. It's 18 bucks a year. But I was able to purchase 3 years, 2 years actually, to give you 1 year free. And that's taken care of now for the next 3 years. So I want to thank you for supporting this channel. The Honda is running. It takes fuel. And I try to change the oil every 3 weeks in that puppy. I want that thing to last a long time because it's kind of pricey. And your support helps me do that. And I want to just thank you for supporting this channel. What I want to talk about, there's a lot of things I want to talk about. One I want to talk about is what's going on in Italy. But I don't want to do that on this video. I've been putting it off and putting it off. I got upset the other day, interrupted in my sequence because I got blocked on YouTube. And I know there's a problem with the link on BitChute, and I'm going to have to go into town today and take care of that, and I will do that. But I want to talk about that at the end of this video. And but what I want to talk about right now is this. As John Lennon said, imagine there is no federal government. Imagine there is no federal government. No federal government, folks. Imagine that for a moment. You know, the white race is unique in that we can imagine, we can use our imagination, and then we can put our thoughts into reality. And I've done this all my life, and I want to explain, it would take a whole video just to explain that, but I'm just going to bring this up. I was a handyman. I worked my way through university as a handyman, and when I got out, I went further than that. I said, I don't want to be doing this all the time. I want to do more. So I ended up picking up a hammer and a tape, and I learned carpentry. I self-taught. And then I got to the point where I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I imagine doing something better. I imagine being a contractor. I didn't want to be a contractor, but they upped the limit that you could do a contract with or do jobs from $600 a job to $1,500. So maybe it was the other way around. It was anyway, you couldn't contract with a homeowner for any work over $600. That's what it was. So you could get in trouble by the whoever and you didn't have any legal recourse if the owner didn't pay you. So they forced me to go get a license, which just is you now have permission to do something that would otherwise be illegal. So I was no longer able to work without a license in order to feed my family, and I had a couple children by then and a wife to take care of. So see, they pass these laws and they force you into their system. I remember 1981, I did not want to get a contractor's license. But I did. Pretty much had to, or at least I thought I did. And then after several years of contracting, jobs and all the hassle and all the law, the legalities and everything, and I go into them in my book, Dead Beat Dad. Actually, it's Beat Dead Dad, but hey. So I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So I imagined becoming a real estate developer, and that's exactly what I did. I ended up becoming a real estate developer. And see, that there's this constant improvement in my life. And then finally, when I was successful, and I was only 45 years old at the time, I was one of the largest real estate developers in Humboldt County, and that's a fact. The government comes in during my divorce and takes everything away from me. The federal government, right? This man. And my divorce attorney, he told me one day in the court, and I've related this before. We're sitting there in the courtroom cafeteria, the courthouse cafeteria, having coffee or something, waiting for some meeting or hearing or something. And he says, Charles, I got to tell you this. I'm jealous of you. And I said, oh yeah, why is that? He goes, because you can travel once you do a job as a real estate developer, and you got a lot of pieces of property there, lots in my case, that you can then sell off one at a time. You're free to go. And I used to travel quite a bit, and I would sitting there telling him I've been to Guatemala, and I've been to Honduras, and I've been here, and I've been there, and Mexico, all over. And he was jealous. He says, I can only go on a vacation, quote, a mini vacation, when everybody else is gone, because I have to be in the courtroom on Monday morning. So the point is, my government took away from me a very ideal way to make an income. And then when I went into federal bankruptcy court to protect myself from being ripped off, people were taking my assets and what was left of my assets, and they were illegally taking my assets. I went into the federal court to protect my assets, and I got financially raped by the very people that are supposed to protect me. So just imagine that for a moment. If you're a female and you get out on the street and you're raped, and you go into a rape shelter and you get assaulted in the rape shelter. That's what our government is doing to us. They're supposed to protect our rights. They're supposed to uphold the Constitution. They're supposed to be there for our protection, and they always bring that up. It's for your safety, for your protection, for your benefit. All these federal programs are out there. The Education Department, the Homeland Security, the Defense Department that goes all over the world and fights wars on behalf of Israel, the Social Security benefits. I want to show you this. This is my Social Security benefit statement, right? It's not a benefit. That's my money that they took away from me when I was working, and I was mostly self-employed all my life, so I had to pay all of the money contributed, and it would buy 6 gallons of gas when I put it in, and now it only buys 2 gallons of gas. And then they lie to us about the inflation rate, and we could go on and on and on and on about that. And I've got several videos about what we could do, the solutions that we could implement, that we could put into place. But we just love our slavery, folks. We want the leeks and the onions of Egypt. And we don't know how to be free. You think you buy a house and you buy a piece of property somewhere and now you own your property. No, you don't. Because if you don't pay the property tax, They come and take your house away and they put it on the market and they sell it and they get somebody else in there to come in and pay the rent. Property tax is a rent on your property, the land that you have your house on. And don't pay your mortgage payment. And we know what a mortgage means. Huh? It's a death contract, folks. But back to the federal government. I cannot think of a single thing that the federal government has done for me that's been in my best interest. Not a single thing, folks. And imagine for a moment if we had no federal government. We wouldn't have these immigration laws, for example. The states would say, hey, you're not coming in here. You're not coming into our state. All right? We wouldn't have these wars that they're spending trillions of dollars on, and they don't have money for our own country. Trump and all you people that are just enthralled with how Trump's going to change things. He wants to tax the gallon of gas now, which is already too high. I've already explained that in the other video on the inflation. He wants to tax another 25 cents per gallon. So if you 10 gallons of gas, and most cars don't even hold it. Most cars today, trucks hold 20 gallons. So 10 gallons would be $2.50. 20 gallons would be $5 a tax on a tank of gas for 20 gallons. Another $5 on top of the ones they already have. I don't know what the tax is. I haven't checked lately, but it's got to be 45, 50 cents a gallon, a federal tax on the gasoline for the interstate highway system and all that crap. They always they have their excuses, and yet we got trillions and trillions of dollars to spend overseas for fighting wars for Israel. You know, and then we got. Oh, before I go there, the national defense budget is $700 billion a year. $700 billion a year. Imagine what we could do with that money in our own country, within our own borders. And I suggest we take those troops, and I mentioned this in the video, take those troops, bring them back here to the United States, set them up on the border, nobody gets in, and we start kicking all the people that are in here illegally out. And then we start making arrangements to get all of the non-white aliens out. You're out of here. Even if we have to pay to get them out, because in the long run it'll be less expensive. So that's what that's the harm. And then we got NASA. NASA. Folks, it's all fake. The whole space program is fake. There is no space. The Earth is a level plane. We're not spinning. You've been duped. They take $20 billion a year, and they're laughing their asses off at you people because you're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're so caught up with Star Trek and all these space programs and stuff and these images that they've duped you with, and you can't let it go because you'd have to admit you're wrong. And just like we love our slavery, we love our space program, don't we? We're going to Mars, huh, folks?
Well, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That's the title of a video that I watched on YouTube. You can see astronauts hanging from wires, proving that astronauts and NASA are liars. They analyze photos and highlight mistakes with the moon landing missions. They show it was fake. You can see them faking the photos of Earth. They use a round window to fake the curve. That's suspicious, don't you think? Yeah, listen up. I watched another documentary called Astronauts Gone Wild. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin gets a little riled. All he was asked to do was to swear to God that he went to the moon, but he was not. He was faced with a moon landing denier, had a chance to show that he ain't no liar, but Buzz decided to punch that dude just for asking him to swear if he went to the moon. That's suspicious. So, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, because I know that we didn't go to the moon.
And then the education, the Department of Education. What the hell are we doing with that? See, it just goes on and on and on. And the point I want to make is this. When I went to Newport, Rhode Island, and I went to those summer homes, like the one that comes to mind is Breakers, and I went on the tour. And the fellow that gave me the tour on one of those houses built by the Vanderbilts, and there was one there on Carnegie, and some guy that built the railroad up, and he'd go to Pennsylvania or something, come back. Anyway, the guy kept saying over and over again, and as a contractor, I looked at these houses and these mansions, all these rooms, and the fireplace that had a hearth. You could walk into the fireplace and logs in there. And I looked at in the hall and the eating hall, and I said, wow, what it would be like to build one of these, and what it would be like to be able to afford a house like that. And the guy that was the tour guide, he kept saying over and over again, this was before the federal income tax. This was before the federal income tax. These summer cottages were built before the federal income tax. These people, these thieves, these parasites have got us thinking that we need to give our money to them, and then they get to decide what to do with it. They give it to this state and this program here and that, and these people here, all these immigrants and all these leeches and those who mooch and the parasites. They take the money from those of us who work and they give it to those who don't work, and they buy their vote. And that's what this immigration thing is all about. They are allowing all these non-whites into our nation, our country. It's no longer a nation, it's a country. And they're going to buy their vote. They give them welfare, they give them the EBT cards, they give them Section 8 housing, they give them. From us, white people, they take and take and take and take, and the non-whites and the leechers and the mooches, they give and give and give and give, and they buy their vote. And it's going to come to the point where there's more of them than there are us. And do you think they're going to vote in our favor? Come on, folks. Back to my point. We don't need to be working as much as we are. We could actually have a pretty damn good life where we'd only have to work a few days a week and have the rest of the days off, and we could enjoy life, and we could communicate with God, our Father Yahweh. We could have fellowship and time with each other. We could actually be living the life that God has given to us instead of working for the government. You cannot serve God and money. You cannot serve two masters. We have a master, the government, that's taking by force more than 10%. God requires 10%. We weren't happy with that. And instead we got 30, 40, 50% and all these taxes. And the most odious tax, perhaps, is inflation. That's a tax, folks. And the government has come right out and said the Federal Reserve, those Esau Edomites that we've allowed to create money out of thin air, create fiat currency. It's not money. Don't think the dollar bill is money. It's not. This is money. The Federal Reserve note, I don't have one here handy, is not money. It's a medium of exchange. It's a fiat currency. It's legal tender, but it is not money. And they get the benefit. They get to create the fiat currency out of thin air, and they get to enjoy their life with their several houses and their cars and their boats and their yachts. And you and I get up every damn day and we go slogging off to a job that we don't like, 8-9 hours a day. So I used to work 12-14 hours a day for many years there, folks, and I finally made it, and then the government takes it away. And that's going to tie into this vigilante. You know, I don't want to go in too far to this, but they're always telling us don't use violence. Violence is not the solution. Don't be violent, and yet they're violent all over the world, aren't they? And they come in with their SWAT team, and they use the violence against us every chance they get. Yeah, here's the point. Why have we accepted the world that the Esau Edomites have presented to us? Why have we accepted that as our reality, that we have to pay the tax to the federal government, that we have to work and work and work and work, and they take and take and take while we give and give and give and get very little, if anything, back in return, except a big financial screw up the posterior.
Bye. Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
The Hague for Christoph. Hello.
You know, I know very little is probably going to change, but if it's not going to change unless we start thinking about it and we start imagining a new world, the new world order that we want, rather than what they want. A new world order, folks, and it's going to make us into slaves. We need to counteract that with our own ideas of the way we want the world to be, and the point is, we as a Caucasian race, we can make that happen. I want one more thing. I'm sitting in the library quite a bit. It's pretty small, and there's a place where I sit and plug in, and a lot of older people come into the library, and I want to tell you that most older people don't use the internet. I had a fellow came in yesterday, and there's a guy there that helps older people get on the computers they have there. And I heard him say, how much have you used the computer? And he goes, not very much. And the guy asked him, do you know how to use a mouse? Do you know how to use a mouse? He says, well, kinda. The point is, most older people only use the internet to check email and to watch CNN online and to watch Fox News online and to go to Wikipedia. They don't know how to use the internet to find alternative news, alternative media. They don't have a clue, folks. So the only hope that we have is in the younger people, and younger people for the most part don't like to listen to us older fellows because we're old fogies and we're out of it, and we don't know what we're talking about. And hey, get with it, Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of that stuff. And they don't, for the most part, there's exceptions, and a lot of you here on this channel are the exception. But don't think just because you get it that the average schmo out there gets it, because he doesn't. He doesn't have a clue, folks. And that's kind of scary, and that's why they're waiting as that pompous ass Oprah.
As long as people can be judged by the color of their skin, the problem's not solved. There are still generations of people, older people, who were born and bred and marinated in it, in that prejudice and racism, and they just have to die.
All right, the point is we don't need the federal government, and we should start thinking that way. All of us. I know this is going to be impossible almost, because most people love to be slaves. Just give them their TV set, their flat screen, and their football, their sports, and their 28, 48, 64 pack of Budweiser Light, and they're happy as clams. They go to work in the morning. They got a brand new truck, so they think they're doing pretty well. Folks, you could be doing so much better if the federal government and even the state governments, like California, they are self-destructing because they're taking, and they're taking from the productive people and they're giving it to the unproductive. It's a sanctuary state, folks. You know, that's where the whole country's going. What do you do, huh? You pray, and then if we all humble ourselves and pray and repent and seek God's face, He will heal our land. I'm doing my part. Ooh. And I know many of you are too. Alrighty, I want to talk about BitChute. I got blocked, as you know, on YouTube, my Hitch video. And so I uploaded it at BitChute, and for some reason the link is not right. The library was going to close. I didn't have time to fix it. I'll go down there today. I'll try to fix that. We need to move to BitChute, folks, and here's why. So here we are. I'm on a BitChute page. It says, in regards to censorship, YouTube has not been innocent either. Within the past year, he's talking about Twitter and Google and all the rest of these that block everybody. Facebook, they block everybody. All the posts that are critical of the Esau Edomites and the government. Within the past year, several prominent YouTubers have reported significant loss of traffic on videos that criticize the government. Enter BitChute, the decentralized peer-to-peer video hosting platform. Taken from the website's FAQ page, BitChute's aim is to encapsulate a complex peer-to-peer torrenting system within a streamlined web browser format. By streamlining the format, the hope is that the site would then be ready for mass adoption. I think we're getting very, very close. BitChute, this is a couple years old. BitChute is still under development, but many alternative media outlets like NewsBud, Media Monarchy, and the Corbett Report have already joined. And the Charles Folkart, I was one of the very first ones on there on BitChute, folks. Probably within the first 100 on BitChute. Once the site gets further developed, regular users will be allowed to create their own channels and post videos, and that's where we are. I tried to get into Steemit, and for some reason their site wouldn't let me in. I don't know what's wrong with that. I'm already on Minds. I just don't have time. But these Steemit, Minds, and BitChute, which is now like Speak Out BitChute, there's something going on over there. I got to go check it out. Are the peer-to-peer decentralized options that we have. And folks, I believe we need to move over. We need to migrate. We become migrants, just like the illegal immigrants are, and move our efforts and our time over to these other platforms. I got a video I'm working on for this, what's going on in Italy. And that's encouraging, folks. That's very, very encouraging. Well, I got weird. It's funny looking at yourself because I'm looking at myself. You guys don't probably know that, but I'm looking at myself while I'm, hopefully you're looking at me. I'm talking to you and all that. And sometimes looks like, anyway, it's encouraging to see that the Italians, at least, are waking up. The Swedish men still have their heads up their posterior. And the Germans, I don't know if there's any hope for the Germans. They're all cucks. And we got Monica Schaefer, don't forget, who's in prison for what she thinks. She doesn't agree with the Holocaust hoax. And we got another false flag ops in Florida. They want to take away our weapons, folks. Don't ever go along with that. If you think we're going to be better off because we don't have our weapons, you're cocked. You're cocked. In fact, every time this happens, we should be going out and buying some more ammunition, folks. Okay. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for sharing this channel. Don't forget BitChute. If you don't have an account there, I would recommend, I would appreciate it if we view the video. Start getting in the habit of going to BitChute. I'm going to do my best to update you on what's going on there. And may the grace of God, our Father, the Father of the Caucasian race, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who were not Jewish, may His grace be upon us all, for we most certainly need it. See ya.